Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. I'm Steve.
And I'm Scott.
And together, we're Backyard Musings, broadcasting live Apple Valley, People's Republic of California.
Yeah, and we're talking strange deal tonight or this morning.
Yeah. Long distance running, like marathons and ultramarathons, may not always be the health badge we thought it was. In fact, it could increase your cancer risk, according to a new study out of Virginia. Dr. Timothy Cannon of the Inova Schar Cancer Institute began work on the study, which was presented at the 2025 American Society of Clinical Oncology annual meeting in Chicago. And I've ran one marathon and a half marathon, but it was like just a bucket list to say I did it. After noticing ultra marathoners under 40 were showing up with advanced colon cancer, would you like to know more?
So how old were you when you did these marathons?
I was 40 for the full marathon, and I think 41 for that half. I think I did it the very next year.
Huh. Okay, good for you. To dig deeper, he launched a study of runners who had completed at least 5 marathons or 2 ultramarathons, excluding those with family history or other known risk factors. Quote, the study supports the hypothesis that extreme endurance runners have an increased risk of precancerous polyps, said Cannon. Researchers examined 100 participants between the ages of 35 and 50 who had never undergone a colonoscopy but had completed at least 5 marathons or 2 ultramarathons. Individuals with hereditary cancer syndromes or inflammatory bowel disease were included or excluded to keep the focus on potential impact of endurance exercise alone.
Each participant had a colonoscopy done during the study. They also completed a survey about dietary habits, bowel history, and long-distance running patterns. He found that 15% had advanced adenomas, or precancerous colon growths, compared to the normal 1 to 2% for their age group. Even more, a staggering 41% had at least one adenoma.
Any growths discovered during the procedures were reviewed by a panel of gastroenterologists, pathologists, and oncologists to determine if they met the criteria for advanced adenomas. Quote, I was surprised by just how many of the runners had polyps, said Cannon. Going on with the quote, I thought they may have more adenomas and advanced adenomas than expected for their age group. But I did not imagine that 15% would have advanced adenoma. The average age of the participants was 42 and a half, well below the typical screening age of 45. Well below, I don't know, 2.5 years? I don't know. Okay.
Yeah. Cannon and other experts theorized that intense endurance training might cause repeated gut stress during prolonged runs. Blood gets diverted away from the intestines, possibly triggering damage and inflammation over time that might lead to mutations and polyps.
Huh. So this man that I used to know that did this, or I still know him, but when he did this years ago, some of the things that would drive him off of these races would be intestinal issues. And they always blamed it on, you know how you're running along and you grab if you come to a checkpoint, there's a table set up with a bunch of cups of water and stuff. So he started carrying his own water because he thought that the water that they were giving out at the stations may have been tainted.
No.
Not on purpose, but just, not up to standard. So experts caution the results aren't definitive, noting the study lacks a control group and hasn't yet undergone peer review. Still, the numbers might make you sit up and pay attention, or maybe just not run these crazy races. Quote, we did not have a control group, so this raises the question as to whether or not there is some bias, said the doctor, adding that the runners were mostly from the Washington, D.C. area, and may have other common risk factors outside of running.
Yeah. Okay. Partisan politics, maybe. He also acknowledged the research didn't account for detailed family histories, which could have influenced the results. Despite the results, it's not a sign to ditch running completely. Quote, let me first say that people should continue exercising, Cannon stressed. We have far more problems from not exercising than from exercising too much.
He added that exercise decreases your risk of cancer overall, despite this study supporting the idea that extreme doses of exercise, such as ultramarathons, may increase risk of cancer. For those running extreme distances, it's important to monitor symptoms such as bleeding, persistent diarrhea, or abdominal pain.
So he says an extreme dose of exercise, you don't just decide to go out and run a marathon. You don't go out and just decide I'm going to do an Ironman or an ultra marathon. That
Right.
you have to train up. I trained for 20 weeks for my marathon. It wasn't a dose. It was 20 weeks of pain, torture, and agony. And I got myself up to that long distance, and I was able to finish the race.
Yeah, this friend of mine would run all the time. That's what he did. When he got off work or after he retired, that's all he did was just run. And yeah, I mean, again, I've never been that to me just does not sound fun at all. Or hiking, like for instance, I've never been a big hiker. Although I've hiked, but never like, hey, let's go on a 50 miler, like one of our mutual friends just did. He did a couple of those this year. So
I did it with a group of buddies, 4 buddies.
The marathon?
Yeah, and we all did it. We all trained up and we all did it.
Did you all stay together?
No. I was the last one. There's a guy that came in at 4 hours and then 4.5 and then 5 and 5.5. No, I was at 5.5.
Well, at least you finished. I mean, you finished. That's a big deal.
I did.
Because
We're about to shut the gates down.
Isn't a marathon like 26 miles or something like that?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what did you just say? You had to knock the gates down?
They were about to go back inside.
Oh, close?
They're about to close the gates. Like, we're done, but I finally made it in.
Cool. Well, hey, that's a big deal, though. I mean, if it was on your bucket list and you finished it, so
yeah,
that's cool.
All right, bleeding after running is not to be considered normal or benign, and someone experiencing it should seek medical attention. As far as I know, there is no expert. So before I do the quote, I needed to have 2 IVs after that marathon. All throughout, you should train as you fight and fight as you train. All throughout, I always had a Camelback that I would suck dry on the runs, And then when we started getting into double digits, like 12, 14, 16, I'd have like the full Camelback and 1 bottle of water or 2 bottles of water. And I'd drink the bottles first, throw away, and then on the marathon twice, I used a gel packet that gives you energy. Twice I did that. But on race day, the marathon day, I ditched the Camelback. Big mistake, because right around mile 13, I started to get pains in my stomach from not drinking enough. And I limped in those last miles. And I was peeing red.
Could you have filled up that Camelback at some of those checkpoints? Or did you not have that kind of time?
But that would have taken time, I guess so. They had little cups, and I was double fisting the cups and then throwing them in the trash. But it wasn't enough. I mean, I should have ran exactly like I trained. I should have.
Yeah, and they say that if you're going to run, and maybe you did, but if you're going to run or go on a hike or walk, long walk or whatever, you should hydrate for a couple of days extra heavy. So your body is like a camel, you store up the water and then continue to hydrate while you're exercising, but you should hydrate, either the day before or a couple of days before, depending on the extreme. But not that I'm an expert, because I'm not. So.
Okay, here's the quote. As far as I know, there is no expert body of gastroenterologists that have stated that any rectal bleeding or blood in the stool is not a cause for concern, said Cannon. However, my patients are telling me that in practice, many gastroenterologists dismiss bleeding after running as a normal event.
Great.
So I never bled, after a run. I was peeing blood. My kidney was breaking down.
Great.
They gave me a salt tab.
2 good reasons right there not to do this. Peeing blood in your pee and rectal bleeding. No,
I can say I've done it.
No, Okay, great.
All right, folks. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you in the afternoon.
Take care, everyone. Thanks.